Why do we study Latin? Well, there are at least 6 good reasons I can think of. First of all, because it is Latin. Latin was the language of the Roman monarchy, republic, and empire from 753 BC to 476 AD. It was the dominant language in Western culture for 1,500 years. Then it remained important for another 500 years afterward. That's more than 2,750 years total. Compare that to the 1,000-year existence of English. Latin, as a form of human expression, is a precise and beautiful language. It's the language of Caesar, Cicero, and Virgil. For centuries, it was the language of the church, scholars, thinkers, and government. After the Romans, Latin would be the curriculum of school children for the next 1,900 years. School children such as Isaac Newton, Augustine, Thomas Jefferson, William Shakespeare, and Elizabeth I, just to name a few. These thinkers, movers, and shakers in our Western tradition read the Latin authors, wrote in Latin, thought and spoke in ways organized by the Latin language, and they left a rich heritage of accomplishment for us. A second reason to study Latin is to increase your English vocabulary. This tree shows how, by learning one Latin root word, scribere, which means to write, you can add all these English derivatives to your vocabulary store. And notice how each of these derivatives have something to do with writing. It's estimated that at least 60% of English vocabulary is derived from Latin, and these are the words that are used by lawyers, theologians, writers, historians, people in the medical field, scientists, in short, the more educated segment of our society. The more words you know, the better you can express your ideas, and the better you can do this, the more you can accomplish in every endeavor. Studies show that those who use language well are also the highest paid and most successful in their careers. A third reason for studying Latin is to build a foundation for all language study. 90 to 95% of French, Portuguese, Italian, Spanish, and Romanian vocabulary is derived from Latin. So knowing Latin will make learning those languages much easier. In addition, language learning principles acquired in the study of Latin transfer to the learning of non-Romance languages as well. How to conjugate a verb, what a perfect passive participle is, what reflexive pronouns are used for. These grammar goodies are found in every language. So think of it. With your foundation in Latin, you'll become a language learning machine. The fourth reason for studying Latin is to grow your brain power. Through the diligent effort and the particular skills required to learn the language, you will find that you are also learning to be more logical, observant, organized, analytical, and accurate in your thinking. In other words, you're becoming smarter. Won't this come in handy? The fifth reason to learn Latin is to learn wisdom. Now that may seem like a tall order, but in conjunction with studying the language of the Romans, we will also study their history and culture. Here we will see the good, the bad, and the ugly. Examples worthy of following, such as Mucius, who burned off his right hand to protect his city and its people. There will be examples to warn us what to avoid, such as the traitor Coriolanus, held back only by the pleas of his mother from betraying Rome. President Harry Truman said that oftentimes when he was confronted with a thorny problem, he found more wisdom in reading Plutarch, who was an ancient historian of the Romans, than in all his cabinet advisors. This study will give you, too, much to ponder as you set out to make your mark in history. Finally, the sixth reason for studying Latin is that those students who do score higher on the SAT test. And they do it consistently year after year. Here you can see that students of Latin outscore all students by 176 points. They outscore students of Spanish by 104 points. And they outscore students of French by 35 points. There are no guarantees, of course, but why not put the odds of scoring better in your favor? So why do we study Latin? First of all, because it is Latin, the ancient, beautiful, and important language. To understand and increase our English vocabulary, to build a language learning foundation, to develop our brain power, to study character and history, to earn higher SAT scores, and finally, to have fun. So what are we waiting for? Let's get started.